Now, I'm going to put a question to you like this. You see, it is vital, like you correctly said, that we try to unite together and pursue a common interest because there is no alternative to that. We do it now or we do it later. That is the only solution that we have.
Right.
Now, you tell me, you were born in New York, any African American as it were. What do you see other people say in line with this disconnection? Because there is a disconnection, and sometimes it's deliberate by some other persons to make sure that is the way it is. What do you hear other people say about this disconnection?
Yeah. It's a huge, that's an awesome question. It's a huge daily thing. One of the, just let's look at it from a different perspective. Back in the 08, when Obama was the President Obama became president of the United States, we were jumping for joy. We were, oh wow, we are represented. You know, we have somebody in the White House that looks like us, and we're just yay, 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 yay. And I turned to one of my girlfriends who's in Liberia, who she got married to a Liberian and she moved to Liberia. And her husband said, I don't know what all of this rough is in the United States about Obama being the president. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, what do you mean you don't see you don't see the well, I mean, why are you so happy that he's president? I said, because he's a Black man, and that has never happened in the history of this country. The Black man has never been president. He said, oh, well, I can't relate. He said, because all of our presidents have been Black. Something as simple as that. That just made me see that here I am looking like him. I speak the same language. I am of the same religion. I am of the same blood of the motherland, yet our views are so totally different. Why? Because we're placed in an environment that intentionally wants to separate us, okay? When you saw and I talk about the transatlantic slave trade, when you saw that and you saw people going back to the motherland and they started this country called Liberia for the liberty and the liberation of the people that were sent over there. You saw that this is an economical country that allows anyone that looks like me to come back and claim your ancestry as African. This has been the greatest connection that we had, but it dropped off in like the 80s and 90s. Nobody did that anymore. Nobody was going back to Africa. Nobody wanted to do that anymore because it wasn't cool anymore. Nobody wanted to go back to a third world country and, you know, be in this godforsaken land, not realizing that if you look at certain parts of Africa today, it looks like New York. Have you ever been downtown in Nigeria? Have you ever been to cities in Ghana? They look just like the US. So with the infrastructure, and I use that as the next thing, we lost the adage of the natural and the human resource. And in answering your question more completely, the natural resource is using what we have to get what we want. And the human resources is the dedication that we have to being better. And we've lost sight of the natural and the human resource. We lost sight through to mining and making other people rich. We're the richest country continent in the world, Africa is. But yet we're the poorest people because we were making everybody else rich, thinking that we were going to get a piece of that pie. And we sought to service everyone else except ourselves. So one of the things that I see now is we are serving other people other than ourselves. So we lost that human resource. We lost the fact that we're supposed to be helping each other. We're helping other people. We lost the fact that we're supposed to be using what we have and as our natural resource to better us. That's why it was given to us. But we pilfered it out to other people, and now they're reaping the benefits and they're killing us. So I think if the planning in this has to be redeveloped in the understanding of who we are as a people. What do we really want? Asking that question and then realizing what it is that we are looking to get that answer. If we don't ask that right question, we will never get that right answer, but that answer is in the room. The answer is in the room. And I say this in all my speaking engagements. The answer to the question that we have is in the room. We just don't know how to ask that question. And I think that's that resulted in where we are today.
Thank you very much for that again. And you see, I want to believe that part of the answer is, like you have said before, education, because education, of course, reveals the secret that is in us, which is actually our
Right.
power. Because if you don't know where you are coming from now, it becomes very difficult for you to be able to find your way around. Because
Right.
to the other persons you are going to be sharing the table with, if they know you more than you know yourself. You are in danger. You are in serious danger. And that is
Correct.
some of the situation that we have in Africa and also among Africa, because it's not only among the African diaspora, but right in Africa, it's also happening. In this channel, we talk a lot about education. And what we find is that even our educational system in Africa has been interfered with. In fact, it has been a condition in a way that the people that are being educated in Africa are being educated away from themselves, from their identity, from who they are. And that is setting a stage for disaster. So that somehow we're going to call for somebody to come and help us. But it has been designed like this. It is not by accident. So what I'm trying to ask you now is, how do we begin to deconstruct this myth so that we understand that we are in a game? This is really a game. There is nothing just natural here. But the fact that you don't know about your history is not by accident. How do we begin to deconstruct this so that the children come to understand that there is a huge history behind it? Okay, let's accept, for example, for an instance, that Africa have no history. What is the pyramid of Africa doing in the American dollar? Mm-hmm. What is the obelisk doing in Vatican? What is it doing in France? It will let us know that somebody is deliberately blindfolding us to think that we don't have anything. We have set the basis for human history. Please, your response.
That's right. I'm so glad you said that, because every time I start going in that direction, everyone says, "Oh, that's too deep," and "Oh, what are you talking about?" And and it tickles me. It allows me to understand that clearly they understand where I'm going with it, but it's just so phenomenal that they don't get that there is a truth to it. It's just so much to understand. They don't want to believe that this was set up like this. So to your point, I really believe, and this is just me just living life. I'm 50 something now. I'm just going to leave that there. And I know that there is a history that we have had. I've learned it as my personal history. I've seen it in real time. I have relatives that are still of that age that can remember back coming. So this is where I understand the truth to be manifest. However, we don't have these people that we're sitting here listening to anymore. We would rather listen to rap music than our grandmother. We would rather listen. The children are trying to be in Africa. I'm noticing they're trying to assimilate a more Western look of dress, and they don't put their cultural dress back on. They want to speak English. They don't want to speak their tribal tongue. Of course, me being Fula, I speak Fulani. And knowing that is to know that there is a reason why you have to continue that language. Because if I stop the language, are my children going to learn it? If I stop dressing that way, are my children going to stop remembering where it is and where we need to be and where we have come from? I do have a Western form to me in the way I dress, but I always wear my gele. Why? Because it's a representation of a woman that is of African descent. Always wear it. Every picture that you see me taking, every post that I put, it's always wearing this, because I want that African child that's in another country to realize that even in the United States, that there's representation for her. I want her to see that there's representation. When I go in formal wear, I wear my fula earrings, the ones with the big hoops at the bottom, because I want them to see the customary dress. When I'm at the United Nations and I'm at a formal soiree, I'm in full regalia, because I want them to see that this custom has not been lost to Western culture. And this is very important when we start teaching our children. We can't say that, oh, you need to remember your past and remember your history if you're saying that your future is greater. Your past is always going to be your foundation, and if you don't know it, you're bound to repeat it. So the manner of hostage that we hold our history to is going to be indicative of how our children receive it. If our children don't understand it, they don't know the language, they don't know the custom and the tradition, they can't recycle it, they can't repeat it. They can't be anything but a repeat and repeat of who we are. I was born in America, I couldn't help that. But I am Gambian. And I say that over and over and over again. And I even joke with my children and I say, and I go into that whole African mother thing, and they're like, here she goes. And they know that there is a thing in me, even born here, that lets them know, there's certain traumas that come along with being born to an African mother. And I know that those children understand it. And now they're grown and married and have children of their own. And I see those traits repeated in my children. There's certain looks that she gives her daughter, and there's certain mannerisms where they stand there and they just look at you like your grandmother used to do to you, and I do to them, and now they do it to their children. And it's a written language. So it's culture, tradition, it's the value and the custom that you adhere to. And we have to keep it going. We can't just bite into, oh, I'm in Rome, so let's do as the Romans do. I mean, no pun intended, because I know you're in Rome right now, but
No, no,
I mean,
come on. We are in the same boat.
right. And you can't just keep assimilating to that. Bring your culture and custom to your new land and let them see how you live. You'll be surprised how many people try to assimilate to your custom and try to come over to what you are because of your pride and your strength in your culture. So that's my answer, and it's inclusivity.